Welcome to Tuesday Talks with Darleen, and my special guest is Monica, and I'll get her to say her last name so I don't say it wrong.
It's
Oh, pardon?
Monica.
Beautiful, thank you. And she has a beautiful business called Artfully Intuitive. Got to get my words out today. Now, Monica is an artist, spiritual teacher, energy healer, and empath who uses her gifts to help others step into their unique essence and knock down the walls to unconditional self-love. And from there, she helps them step into the life they have always wanted. I just love everything about that. And thank you, Monica. Welcome. And today we were actually chatting beforehand what we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about showing up authentically and trusting as well, and resting.
And resting. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of it goes together.
It does, doesn't it? So welcome. And I would love to know, what's your definition of trust?
Oh, that's a good question. I like that question. Trusting is something that I worked on for 2 years and I continue to work on. It was my work. Like I had it for, how you get a word for a year, and I had it for a year and I was like, that wasn't enough. I need another year. And then, it carried me probably into the half of the next year, but trust it's learning to step into the moment for me. That's what trust does for us, is it allows us to be present in the moment instead of trying to control things that we can't control. So for me, trust is about knowing my worth. It's about knowing my abilities. And it's about knowing that I'm going to be able to handle the situation, even if I handle it wrong, that I learn how to handle it better the next time. So trust also comes in there as far as like not shaming myself, but knowing that I learned something and that I'm going to do better next time. And so trust for me really goes into that intuitive center as well. That's when you can really tap into that, your internal compass and that intuition and all of the magic that you really do have and possess.
Yeah, that's a beautiful definition. I really love that. And when you said about intuition, like my intuition, like it's been there for many years. Yet when it first opened, thankfully I wasn't afraid of it. I was actually curious. And then learning to trust, my intuition has gotten so deep and so like enormous. It's incredible. I rarely question anything anymore. And when I do, of course, things go wrong.
Or you're shown that you shouldn't have questioned it, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
question your answer.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was thinking about something today. About, when your intuition starts coming through, showing it gratitude instead of getting mad. Because sometimes our comes through as like, you'll be walking out the door and you'll be like, water. And you'll be like, oh, forgot my water. I got to go back inside. And when you start turning that, just flipping the script a little bit and saying, gosh, thank you. Thank you for helping me remember to go get my water before I was down the street. I find that it starts to hit a little more too. That gratitude.
That's a beautiful thing. I love how you've actually just said about flipping that switch, because we can walk out and go, oh, yeah, I've forgotten this and I've forgotten that. And I always forget things. And yet instead of, like flipping that switch is such a great thing. And that by doing that, you're actually learning to trust your intuition more as well, because gratitude, like it's right now, my heart just has gone on fire because I said the word gratitude, because it means so much. And the more, the more that we can have gratitude, the more that things just happen for us beautifully.
Yeah, it absolutely. And I also found that the more I would thank myself instead of getting mad at myself, the less I would, the more trust you have and the more love you have, that gratitude is that just, when you said your heart was on fire. And so I find when we can flip that script, you look at it as, oh my gosh, thankfully I'm listening right now. I'm glad I was listening so I could go get before I locked myself out of the house.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
before I went to work and then had to come back and get them. So yeah, it's gratitude is the key in so many different things.
It is. And yeah, I really had to learn to trust my intuition last year. I was telling you just before we started, I got a vacate notice and I'm like, but there is nowhere. And I kept, putting in for house sitting and for, flat sharing and everything, not getting any word back. And I really had to let go. And yes, stress did happen because it's quite natural because, you've got to get out. Yet, as it was coming closer and closer, I just kept saying, you know what, I know it's going to be okay. Yes, I'm feeling anxiety symptoms. I acknowledge that. I'm grateful that they're actually coming up because they're coming up for a reason. Yet I know that I will be okay. And I was.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And
well, I always think about, when we're on our healing journey, it's not that things aren't going to happen to us. It's not that life's just going to become all like, it's that actually things might happen more often sometimes, but it's the fact that we have this toolbox and this trust we're able to tap into, like you did. Like, you know what? No, wait. I know it's going to be okay. I feel it. I trust it. I know, I'm putting that energy out there. Had you have not had that, it would have been a different situation,
Yeah, exactly. Like if I'd been, a few years before when I was having severe depressive symptoms, I honestly don't know what would have happened. I probably would have ended up in hospital. I really do feel that. But then I did even more. Like I've been doing spiritual work for 30 years, or actually longer than 30 now. And it's kind of like, oh, hang on, no, it's longer. And because of that, I was able to work through the symptoms of anxiety and depression and get better and better, and which is why I was able to trust. And one of the things we were also talking about was that the more you trust your intuition, the more that you realize you actually need to rest as well.
Yeah, no, rest, it's so interesting because we live in a society that sometimes feels like you have to go and push. And when we forget to listen, listening isn't a skill just for people. Like listening is the skill for our life. Intuition, and so I was reading this book about the chakras and I'm going to butcher her name. It's like Anita's something. It's the Wheels of Life, I think. Great book. And she said rest is an action in itself, because anything that stops or starts inertia, right? It's an action. And that really hit something in me. And I was like, oh, so when I'm resting, it's not like I'm not doing anything. It's that I'm listening and I'm trusting. We have to, a lot of the times we push through and we take action out of obligation, and we take action out of, like, if I do this, everything's going to fall apart. And when you think about rest as an action as well, it's essential to, it's like, I always think about the volcano because I have a lot of volcanic energy in me. And, if it's always erupting, it never is allowed to settle and harden, then it can't build the beautiful habitats that it builds. The minerals can't form. And so I always think about rest like that. Like you can work and work and work, but if you're not allowing your work to do the work that you've put out there, then it's not doing yourself any good. It's like even on a rower, if you've ever been on a rower, you pull back and you're supposed to wait because you wait for work. So and then you go back and I feel like life is that way. It's that push and pull of life, but allowing for your work to be able to do its job and to settle in it. Listening becomes a big part of that too. That's a part of your healing journey is when really learn to listen to what we need. When we stop taking action out of obligation, when we start taking action of what brings us joy and what we need, that's when magic happens as well. And rest is
It is. It's a big part. And I mean, even during a session, and I've done videos on this, where you can't, as the coach, mentor, whoever, you can't keep talking or keep doing things without having a rest period to allow the client to integrate. And it's the same in our life. We can only take so much in before we just need to rest and integrate.
Absolutely. Yeah. And let it allow the wisdom that you have to come to be able to react to life as well, instead of creating. It's like, let's let our creation react and respond.
Yes, yeah. And I love that you said the word respond, because so many times in our life we react instead of responding, you know. And I love saying, take 3 beautiful deep breaths and just stay in that before you actually say or do anything.
No, it's beautiful. I mean, and that's part of trust, is trusting in your ability to respond, right? A lot of anxiety stems from not having that trust in ourselves to be able to respond. You know, that we're going to say something wrong or do something wrong in the moment. And so we actually rob ourselves of the moment because we're not trusting in ourselves, because there's so much, you know, false beliefs and shadows that are in the way. And when you can learn to start to trust in your responding, and to trust in your mistakes, you know, and your failures, like knowing that you might not respond right, you know, but you can't learn and gain wisdom, take action, and you trust. And so it's a catch-22 of like, you're never going to trust in your responding if you don't practice that trust, you know?
And don't take the action. Like, you know, we've got a business, we've got to take action, we've got to do things. And of course, things are going to go wrong, you know, that happens, that's natural. You know, like being an employee, things go wrong, that's life. But being aware of that, being connected and going, okay, so that happened, what did I learn from it? What do I need to change? You know, what can I do better? All of this beautiful stuff. And when you ask those questions, your intuition does come in and go, this and this.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanking it, finding that gratitude for that mistake that led you into that wisdom. I think about knowledge, and so many of us like, we just take in so much knowledge and so much knowledge, but if you don't take action on knowledge, then it's not turned into wisdom.
Exactly. And I mean, I'm a lifelong learner, so I will continue to do courses and workshops and everything. Yet it won't be 20,000 a year. It will be 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most, you know, like, because you've got to have that time in between to integrate it all, to take action, you know, all that beautiful stuff. And that's where the rest comes in. And hello, doggy.
Rita.
This is what I love about all of these. And for people watching, you can see nothing's edited, because animals give us information as well. They actually provide information to us. Like that beautiful dog has come in to say, hello, I'm here, I've got a message.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in fact, when I do I do energy work, and animals show up a lot. I have chronic nature, and I tell people animals carry messages for us. They're here. If you're seeing an animal over and over, what that meaning is, you know, because they do show up.
And the message was, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but the message that was coming through is, this is just what I'm getting, and this is what I trust, is your beautiful dog is black. Let's have a look at our shadow. And trusting, you know, like, it's so incredible. Everyone goes, no, we can't look at our shadow. We've always got to be in light. But hang on, we are shadow and light. That is us. And that's what it's about. And you were talking about anxiety before, and I can't remember who actually said it, but someone said that anxiety is living in the future and depression is living in the past. Definitely got a message for you. Go and play.
Love. I'm going to pull this chair over because she'll jump on me all day long. She's a puppy.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, when I actually heard that anxiety was living in the future and depression in the past, I went, wow, that made so much sense for me, because I had the symptoms of both. So you can imagine Like, hang on, okay, I'm living in the future. No, I'm living in the past, in the future. And it's like, who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? And so then I
You're
had,
not.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, and I had to trust, okay, let's just slow down, let's rest, and let's see what these symptoms are telling me.
Yeah, no, I think it's beautiful. A lot of what happens with worrying about the future is you're passing the moment by, and you're trying to worry about things you can't control, and then it's shame. That's shame for things that in the past that we wish we could have done different. And instead of looking at what we learned and how far we've come, I was thinking this full circles me back to when we were talking before about you being able to trust this time, and you're finding housing. We have to celebrate those mini celebrations. Like every single win we have to celebrate it. We have to change that energy around our actions. So I mean, anything from like, oh, I was able to notice my anxiety today. I mean, that's a win. That's an awareness. And start to celebrate those. Huge. We forget because we're pushing. We're like, oh no, but I'm not there yet. Oh no, but I'm not there yet. And it's like, but you are there because it's a journey. It's not, it's like an art, right? You're an artist, correct? A lot of the times people they start to create art for that masterpiece, that end piece, but art is about the process. You get there, and sometimes you get these wonderful pieces, and sometimes you're like, oh, I learned a lot there, but I don't, that doesn't look great, right?
Yeah, I'll paint over that one and do a new painting.
I mean, life's a lot like that. The journey of, it's the process and getting there. It's the end result, because then you miss out on the moments in between.
Exactly. And what I discovered, having a business, is that especially when we first start out, we don't have the confidence in ourselves. We don't have any of that. So we're actually looking at other business women thinking, I should be there. That's the future. No, don't look at them because you're looking at the future. Look at now. Take the actions now because you will get there. But if you keep looking there, you're not going to trust yourself, because you keep going, well, how do they do that? Then I need to do that. But what they do may not be right for you.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, we compare ourselves to other people, and then we start doing things that other people are doing, but it's authentic to who we are, and so our business isn't going to be as successful as we want it to be, because we're not doing things from our own energy. We're not doing things from who we are and our, like everyone's here to do it their own way. I mean, a lot of the time when we go to write something or we go to say something, we're like, well, that's been said 100 times. And it's like, but it hasn't been said by you. That you were going to say it, because people need to hear it from your energy and from your, and that's a part of trust, right? Is like trusting that you have something to say, trusting that you have something to share that is about you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was something else we were talking about, was authenticity as well, showing up authentic. And as I said before, this is not edited, because I don't want to edit out life. Like if I edit this, I'm editing out life. Like I could edit out the dog, but oh my goodness, the dog just gave us beautiful messages.
Right.
So this is showing up authentic, and I love it because I still have my first Facebook Lives that I've got on my page, because I want to show people, hey, go back and look at where I was, and now look at me. I'm in season 2 of my podcast. Like, me showing up authentic.
And growth, and and showing up as yourself, now people show up, they want to see you. They don't want to see you and someone else. They want to see you yourself, because then they can go see them. It's like businesses. There's a fear and creativity. I mean, I think honestly, I use creativity to help people step into their energy, because you learn to create and trust in your creation, no matter what, then you can learn to step into your energy, because we're here to be creative beings, and our art, whatever that is, that's an expression of our soul. That's our soul language. Words are limiting, but our creations are not, and our energy just flows out of them and just pours out of them. And that's what people are attracted to. And so your business is your creation, you know, but it from you, you know.
Yeah, it does. And that's why I love, like, this is one of my quotes, is that you are the expert on your business, no one else. Like, I'm an expert as a mindset mentor. That's my expertise, but I'm not an expert on your business. And
Right.
I love, hey puppy, and I love, you know, like, and so, you know, I really aim to help business women understand that and realize that when they're working with a mindset mentor or a coach or, you know, anything at all, that they need to connect to their body, connect to their business's energy, and then receive the advice, because the advice will be right for them. Like the amount of times people go, oh, you know, go on TikTok and go on Telegram and do this and do that. And it's like, but that's not for me. That's not who I am.
Well, and if it doesn't feel authentic, then it's going to come across that way. It's
Exactly.
forced. And forced energy is different than joy energy, right?
Totally.
I mean, if it doesn't bring you joy, people can see that, you know. And if you go back and look at your posts or whatever, where you got the most response, it usually, like, sometimes I post something at like 10 o'clock randomly, and I wake up the next morning and I'm like, it's blown up, and I'm like, you know, but it was authentic. It was coming from a place of authenticity and joy. And we think that there's this magical formula and there's magical way to do things, and we want that answer. And it's like, well, there isn't. I mean, your inner compass and your intuition is different than my inner, you know, your energy is different than my energy. And thank God, you know, so we get to create in our own beautiful way, and then we get to enjoy the creations of others. But the key and the blueprint is inside of you, and it's learning to trust.
Yeah. So you mean to tell me that all of those people advertising things like, you know, the email sequence that will work and sell you things will work, and it doesn't work?
Yeah. What? And it might, you know, I mean, if that's what you're drawn to, maybe for you, but it's not going to work for everybody. Nope.
No. But even those, like, if you send out exactly what they put in there, then, you know, you might 10 people might sign up to the same person, like the different people who use the same thing, and they'll be like, hang on, but I just seen that and I've seen that. You've got to write from your heart.
Well, yeah, and then, or you're going to overbook yourself, and you're coming from a place of inauthenticity. You're this place of, I just want to get clients, you know, the energy are all money based or client based. It's not to help people. And so what happens is, yeah, you might get clients, you might overbook yourself, you're going to burn out, and you're not going to follow through because you're not coming from your authentic place of joy. Burnout's real, and that's why we have to find things that bring us joy. We're not going to follow through.
Yeah, exactly. And I've burnt out twice. I burnt out when I was in the healthcare field, and I burnt out in, well, it was a hobby then, and I burnt out because, you know, one of the biggest things was I didn't have boundaries. I did not have boundaries at all. So I started off healing and no boundaries. You know, a client might want to come at 7 o'clock at night. Oh, yeah, no worries, of course. Yeah. And it's like, after a while, I just went, what am I doing to myself? I'm working, wasn't quite full time, but nearly, and I'm having clients. What am I doing? And then I started learning things and trusting and going, you know what? No, this is not right for me.
Yeah. And isn't it funny how you almost fill up more when you start setting those boundaries? Because you're that energy of like self-worth and self-care and, you know, authenticity, and knowing that, like, when you show up to help your client, you are showing up as your best self because you have those boundaries. And so your healing, no matter what it is, becomes exponentially more powerful because you're not, you know, people talk about abundance all the time, and their abundance is, it's an energy. I mean, there's ample abundance out there for everyone. But when you're coming from this lack mindset of like, I have to work all the time to get this money, it's not the energy that you want around that. And it actually blocks that, I believe, personally.
No, it does. And for me, I always say that money isn't abundance. Money is a result of abundance. Because when you're in, the space of gratitude and love and compassion and confidence and strength, money will come because you're in the energy to receive the money.
I like that, because gratitude is abundance. Looking at all the ways that abundance does come to us. And you're right. And money is just an energy exchange. I mean, it's all an energetic exchange. I like that. That's a good way of looking.
Yeah. I don't want to end this conversation, but we do need to.
Oh, we have. Wow.
I love absolutely talking about all this. So thank you, Monica, for being here. And anyone watching, please don't forget to subscribe, to like, to comment, to share, all that beautiful stuff that does help small businesses. Now, in the description, I've got how you can find Monica. So please, go and check her out. Because for me, I don't believe in competition. I believe in lifting everyone up. So thank you again, Monica, and wishing everyone a beautiful day wherever they are in this gorgeous world.